Okay, let us start. Hare Krishna, welcome again. Let us chant the Mangala Charan praise. Om Jnana Timivandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmei Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Prem Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Hare Krishna, and tonight we're gonna cover chapter 11, the universal form. This will be based on the teachings of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, who gave the world Bhagavad-Gita as it is. When Srila Prabhupada went to the West, there were over 500 different commentaries on the Bhagavad-Gita. But, and one old lady asked Srila Prabhupada, which Bhagavad-Gita do you recommend? And Prabhupada started to cry because there was no authentic Bhagavad-Gita to present for her to read. And therefore Prabhupada wanted to present Bhagavad-Gita as it is. It is the knowledge exactly how Krishna wants us to understand this knowledge, not how I interpret or what I want to give the world, but what Krishna wants to give the world. So the summary of chapter 11, Lord Krishna grants Arjuna divine vision and reveals his spectacular unlimited form as the cosmic universe. Thus, he conclusively establishes his divinity. Krishna explains that his own all-beautiful human-like form is the original form of Godhead. One can perceive this form only by pure devotional service. So in this chapter, it will clarify many aspects of Krishna's form, God's form. I like to ask a question to everyone. How many gods, that means God with a capital G. If I have to say Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Lord, how many Supreme Lords are there in this world? If somebody had to ask you, how many gods are there? You can type or you can tell us. So yes, one. Any others? So would you say Lord Ram, Lord Narayan, and Lord Krishna are three or one?
One.
So can Lord Narayana do everything that Krishna does?
No. No.
So if Lord Narayana cannot do everything that Krishna does, then are they two or they one?
Okay, then they two.
And then they two. So that means you have now polytheism. You got two gods now, not one God. So we went from one to two, and now you may go to Vamanadev, Varadev, Lord Nrsingadev, you know, now you got like 10 incarnations. Now that somebody's going to ask, hold on, are they 10 incarnations? Do you have 10 gods? Do you have one God? You know, you get totally bewildered, right? So today we're going to try to, share some light. And we may not be able to go extensively, but at least share some light in terms of some aspects of that discussion. So the link to chapter 11, the last verse of chapter 10, Krishna said, with a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support the entire universe. Now, what's amazing of Bhagavad Gita is that Krishna, you will see when he's speaking, he refers to different features of himself. For example, he'll say the super soul in the heart. Then sometimes he'll say, I am in the heart. Like here Krishna is saying with a single fragment of himself, he pervades the entire universe. And Arjuna wishes to see that pervasive form of the Lord. The Lord generally has three features specifically, which is a personal form, a localized form, which is the super soul. Personal form is Swayam Bhagavan, Krishna. Localized form, the super soul. And then a all-pervasive feature, which is in the form of a Brahman effulgence, or sometimes even as the universal form. So Arjuna wanted to see that. He heard it, but he asked Krishna, can you show me that? And there is a form which is called a universal form. So although Krishna is driving Arjuna's chariot, he pervades and supports the entire universe. And Arjuna therefore wishes to see Krishna's all-pervading form. And Arjuna requests Krishna to reveal this universal form. There are 5 sections in the 11th chapter, and I'm not going to go into each of the sections. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go over the whole chapter and cover because it's 55 verses. So I'm going to cover the important philosophical points that are mentioned in each of the in specific verses. And then what I'm going to do is at the end, I'm going to show you a wonderful video presentation with the audio covering all the verses, and that will give you the whole chapter presentation. So we're going to go over the first section, which is Arjuna's request, Krishna's description of universal form. Then Sanjay is describing this to Dhritarashtra. Krishna says, time I am, and he's encouraging Arjuna to become an instrument. Arjuna offers many prayers, and then Krishna concludes and says, only pure devotees can see this two-armed form. So in text 3, Arjuna expresses his desire to see the form which supports and pervades the entire universe. Now, why is Arjuna requesting Krishna to show him the universal form? Because is the universal form a higher form or lower form than Krishna's two-armed form?
Lower.
It's lower. So if Arjuna, if he's already seeing a higher form, then why is he asking Krishna to show him a lower form? And the reason is four reasons. One is to establish Krishna's divinity for everyone. So he wants to prove that, yes, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God, and he wants to establish that. To convince others, although he does not have any personal desire and is completely satisfied to see the Lord in the form of Sri Krishna. So it's for others' benefit. Like you'll find many places, Arjuna is asking a question. The word Arjuna means spotless, pure. So Arjuna is a pure devotee of Krishna. He's a pure associate of Krishna. He travels in every universe, wherever Krishna is, he travels with Krishna to present Bhagavad Gita. So he's a pure devotee. Yet in Bhagavad Gita, he's put into bewilderment for our benefit. He's inquiring, asking questions for our benefit. So when we're reading Bhagavad Gita, we should be reading Bhagavad Gita like Arjuna asking a question, we asking the question, and Krishna is answering the question for us. Then to avoid imposters, he wants to set a criteria. For in the future, there will be many imposters who will pose as incarnations. Prabhupada, in many lectures, he says, in India, you can find incarnation on every street corner. You know, everyone will say, I'm God, I'm Bhagavan, I'm incarnation. Now, anyone can claim to be an incarnation. Many mystic yogis claim. About 200 years ago, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Prabhupada's spiritual master's father, he was a magistrate, very high post in India during the British rule. And during his time, there was a yogi called Vibhikashan. He was claiming to be Vishnu, and he had two other associates claiming to be Brahma and Shiva. So, this has been there, the tradition that people claim to be incarnations. So Arjuna is putting a criteria. You say you're an incarnation? No problem. This is the criteria. And what's the criteria? Please show me a universal form. That's the criteria. If you cannot show me the universal form, you're not an incarnation. And Arjuna wants to substantiate Krishna's statement, and where Krishna says, not only theoretically or philosophic, but actually shows his form. In text 4, Arjuna pleads and does not order to see Krishna's form. So that's also a very, very important principle and point to understand and appreciate. Many people, they'll challenge, can you show me God? So it's not like, God is someone that we can just show you. Why should we just show you God? What's your qualification to show you God? It's not like you can command and demand, God, just show me. And God will just, it's like he's forced to, okay, no, I'll definitely show you. I want to, I'm scared of you. No, Krishna has absolutely no desire to show him, reveal himself. And he's, people talk about their rights. So Krishna has the supreme right not to reveal himself to any unqualified person. And in fact, no material process can allow you to see God. Just like, can we see the sun? Can we see the sun? Are you able to see the sun? The Surya Dev, big sun outside. Can you see the sun?
Yes, you can see the sun.
Yes.
So tomorrow, if the sun decides not to rise, can you see the sun?
You'll still be there.
So if Surya Dev decides not to rise,
Okay.
will you see the sun?
No.
No, because yes, you may have the eyes, but now where's the sun? It's going to be totally dark. But does that mean the sun is not existing?
No.
No, it's existing. So you can only see the sun by the mercy of the sun. The sun is giving you light so that your eyes can function. Your eyes cannot function if there's no light. But if the sun decides not to rise, you have no power to see the sun. It's only because the sun is rising mercifully are we able to see the sun. So the sun, by the mercy of the sun, we're able to see. On our own strength, we cannot see. So similarly, Krishna cannot just be, seen without him revealing his form. So only by revelation, by mercy of the Lord, are we able to see. Therefore, Arjuna is pleading, my Lord, if you so desire, if you, feel I'm qualified, please give me the eyes to see the universal form. It's not possible by mental speculation, by, or perception, by material senses. You cannot perceive Krishna by your material senses. Because the living entity is infinitesimal spiritual spark, he cannot see the unlimited infinite. And Arjuna admits his limitation as a living entity and acknowledges Krishna's inestimable position. So he's recognizing, Arjuna is recognizing, yes, I'm small, I'm infinite, I'm finite, and you are infinite. Therefore, please, you can make me see. And then the Lord is also addressed in this verse as Yogeshwar, to point out his inconceivable potencies by which the infinite can reveal to the finite. Krishna is not obliged to reveal himself until one fully surrenders in Krishna consciousness and engages in transcendental loving service. We find, for example, many people say, show me God. But before they say, show me God, they should ask the question, do I have the qualification and the instruments to see God? Just like there's radio waves, say 702. Not sure if you catch 702 in Brits.
Yes, we do.
I do. Right. So is 702, are we able to right now hear 702?
No.
No. Does it exist?
Yes.
Yes, but we cannot hear it. Why? Because we haven't connected to it. We need the instruments, we need the frequency, then we can connect. Same thing with Krishna. You don't have the connection, you don't have the frequency, you will not be able to see. And even if Krishna appears by his mercy, if you are not surrendered in devotion, you will not recognize him. Prabhupada said, under 10%, very few people, when 5,000 years ago, when Krishna appeared, very few people recognized and accepted Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, this universal form, it's an amazing form. It's called Virat Rupa. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is described that those who cannot contemplate of a form of God, a personal form of God, they can contemplate on nature. So there are many traditions, many groups of people that they worship God in relation to mountains, hills, rivers, the sky, sun, moon. They worship God in the form of nature. They take nature as a form or representation of God. And they honor nature. They offer respects to nature. So that's a very low form of worship, but it's a form that the Lord allows for souls to connect. And then over time, they become purified and they progress. So this universal form, the Virat Rupa, was shown to many devotees at different stages. So I'm just going to go over a few. Mother Yashoda. One time, Krishna, he yawned, a small baby. And Krishna yawned, and when Krishna yawned, immediately Mother Yashoda saw the universal form, right, in his mouth. So that was the first time Mother Yashoda saw. She didn't know what, she looked at it, she was surprised, but all of a sudden her motherly love overtook her. Then a similar incident took place when Krishna ate mud. And then Mother Yashoda, the Balaram and the cowboys went and they told Mother Yashoda, Kana is eating dirt. And Mother Yashoda said, open your mouth, Krishna, why are you eating dirt? And Krishna said, no, I'm not eating dirt. And Mother Yashoda opened your mouth, and Krishna opened his mouth. And you see the picture here, where Krishna, Mother Yashoda sees into Krishna's mouth, and she sees, in fact, she sees herself, she sees Krishna, and she sees everything in creation in Krishna's mouth. And that completely bewilders her. So that's another time. Then when the battlefield between the battle between the Kauravas and Pandavas were decided, Krishna decided to go to Hastinapur to represent the Pandavas to make peace. And when Krishna came to the courtyard, the assembly hall of the Kurus, and started speaking to them, Duryodhan, he was stubborn. He didn't recognize Krishna's position, and in fact, he decided to capture Krishna and imprison Krishna. And Krishna revealed his universal form. Bhishma, Drona, Karna, Vidura, Sanjay, the sages present, they were able to see this form. Duryodhan, he was such a fool. He's seeing this universal form and he's thinking, oh yeah, this is just Krishna's magic. He's nothing serious. Krishna, you can't scare us with all your magic. Don't worry, we'll sort you out. But nobody can sort Krishna out because he's the most powerful. He's the Supreme Lord. So that was another time Krishna showed his universal form. 500 years ago, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself, according to scripture. And Advaita Acharya, who is Mahavishnu, Mahavishnu and Lord Shiva combined, he actually asked, one day he asked Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that can you please show me that universal form that you showed Arjuna? Can you please show me that universal form? That's my desire. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu revealed the universal form to Advaita Acharya 500 years ago. So we see, even Advaita Acharya, he had a desire to see the universal form, but, and people, if we claiming Lord Chaitanya to be God, and you go to Lord Chaitanya, says, they say you God, can you show me universal form? If he's the Supreme Lord, he should be able to show you the universal form. Then another time after the war, battlefield of Kurukshetra, Krishna went to Dwarka, and on his way he met an old friend, Sage Uttanka. And Sage Uttanka, he was very upset with Krishna. And he told Krishna, you could have stopped the war, right? But you allowed the war to continue. I am really not happy. And the sage Uttanka, he wanted to threaten to curse the Lord with his mystic powers. And Krishna told him, your mystic powers can't do anything to me because I'm the Supreme Lord. And the sage said, no, I doubt you, the Supreme Lord. So then Krishna showed him the universal form to prove his position. And then obviously now we're going to hear about Arjuna seeing the universal form. This specific universal form that Krishna shows to Arjuna at one point is called the Kala Rupa. We find a lot of people, they like to go to astrologers to try to understand the future. They want to know, what is my future? What does the future hold? So on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Krishna made it very clear to Arjuna, Arjuna, I've already killed all the soldiers. And Arjuna, he's been shown the Kala Rupa. The Kala Rupa is basically past, present, and future been shown to Arjuna at the same time. If you had to see all your lives that you've lived, past, present, and even the future, you'll be totally confused. So Arjuna is seeing all of that at one point in time, therefore very, very bewildering. But one thing Arjuna wanted to see was Krishna said that he already killed the soldiers. That means Krishna is predicting the future. So Arjuna wanted to see that. And in this universal form, Krishna gave him the blessing you can see whatever you want to, whatever you desire. Past, present, future, Arjuna, you can see everything. So when Arjuna desired to see what happened to the warriors, he saw the warriors being killed. Here you'll see the warriors are all going into Krishna's mouth, getting chewed up like rivers entering into the ocean. Can see. And then he saw others that were going into the mouth and getting crunched into the mouth. So two analogies are given. One is like moths entering into the fire, and the other is like rivers entering into the ocean. So the moth going into fire, it's going on to, it's because of its own independent will and conscience, it's going into the fire. And the example of the moth is corresponding to Duryodhan, those who did not accept Krishna as a supreme lord. They are on their own going to destruction, going to the fire, going to the mouth and getting killed. Whereas like rivers entering into the ocean, they are compared to Dronacharya, Dronacharya, Bhishma. They were devotees of the Lord. They accepted Krishna's supremacy, and they also entered into destruction, but different from the moth, and they achieved their spiritual form. Then in text 33, Krishna, he says, I have already destroyed all your enemies. And then he's giving he's giving Arjuna a clear instruction. Nimitta matrena, nimitta matram, become my instrument. So this is Krishna's instruction. Arjuna's motivation was to fulfill the Lord's desire. And the Lord's plan is very specific in this world. So sign of intelligence is to recognize that the whole world is moving under the Lord's plan. It's not moving by chance. The Lord has a plan. And in some cases, the materialists are thinking they're maneuvering the direction, but Krishna is in complete control. And on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Krishna was in complete control. So Krishna is telling Arjuna now, I've already killed them. Therefore, you just become an instrument. I want you to become an instrument. Therefore, I want you to fight. Krishna calls Arjuna Savyasachi, which means one who fights ambidextrously with both hands. Arjuna was very, very powerful. He could fight with both hands. And Arjuna had a Gandiva bow. The Gandiva bow was such a powerful bow. Arjuna had to just think, and the Gandiva bow would come into his right hand. If he thought Gandiva bow left hand, instantly it would come into his left hand. Just by Arjuna thinking, the bow would manifest. So Krishna tells Arjuna, please become my instrument. And then Krishna tells him a very, very important point, that you fight and you win at the kingdom, but don't become proud. Why? Because I have killed everyone. So it's a very important lesson for us. Krishna, we already heard, Krishna says, I am the ability in man. All the potencies, the power that is there, that we may have in a limited quantity is coming from Krishna. So we should never become proud of the ability that Krishna has given us. We should be very careful of that. Then in text 50, when Arjuna sees the universal form, he then prays to Krishna. In fact, he becomes bewildered. He becomes scared because he's seeing all this. And then he tells Krishna, my Lord, please, I'm frightened now. Please show me your beautiful two-arm form. So Krishna first shows him the Narayana form, four-arm form. Then Krishna shows him the Sham Sundar form, two-arm Ganasham form. And it's described that this form is Somanya Vapu, the beautiful form. This is the original form of Krishna. If you want to know what is the original form of God, this is the original form of God. Swayam Bhagavan, Sham Sundar. Srimad Bhagavatam says, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. So this is God's original form. And God's original form, as we mentioned, is a coward boy. That's what Krishna is doing. In Vrindavan, Krishna is at home. Now, when Krishna wants to work, just like at home, you may dress up in a certain way. And if you go to work, you may dress in a certain attire. If you go, let's say you want to go for a party, you'll dress in a certain attire. If you taking rest, you may wear your pajamas. So for a different activity or function, you dress in a certain attire. So Krishna also, this is his original form. When he wants to create or be part of the material creation, expand, create the material creation, maintain the creation, then Krishna manifests as Narayana, as Vishnu. And if we go to work, we have to change our attire and go. I can't be at home and at work, right? Two places at the same time with two different attires because I'm limited. I can't be at the party. I can't be at, let's say at a temple. I can't be at school. I can't be at work and be at home at the same time. I'm limited. I can only be in one place at a time. Krishna, he can be at any place, at any time, in as many forms as he wants. And when he appears in a form, let's say of Narayan, he can eternally stay in that form, okay, and develop relationships with associates related to that form. And that's it. That is how Krishna has unlimited forms. Scripture describes how many forms Krishna has, how many incarnations. Anyone can tell us how many incarnations does Krishna have? You can type in the chat or with your mic. How many incarnations does Krishna have? Anyone in the chat? 10? Yes, many people would say 10. Unlimited? How unlimited? So like yesterday we covered, right? Allah means great. Krishna means one of the opulence or one of the features of Krishna is great. How great? So unlimited, yes, it doesn't define, how unlimited. So Bhagavatam says, as many waves as there are in the ocean and in every species. Just wrap your mind around it. As many waves, and if you want to know how many waves, next time you go to the ocean, count the waves. So as many waves as there are in the ocean and in every species, Krishna appears. So this form of Krishna manifests unlimited, innumerable, and in every species, different forms. In text 54, very wonderful statement Krishna is making. We can repeat this. Bhaktya tvananyaya shakya.
Bhaktaya sakya.
Aham evam vido Arjuna.
Aham evam vido Arjuna.
Gnatum drashtum cha tatvena.
Janatum drashtum cha tatvena.
Praveshtum cha parantapa.
Pravestum cha paratapa.
My dear Arjuna, only by undivided devotional service can I be understood as I am, standing before you, and can thus be seen directly. Only in this way can you enter into the mysteries of my understanding. So if anybody wants to understand God and enter into his mysteries and see him as he's seen on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, there is only one qualification, bhaktya, and not just any form of devotion, because you can get mixed devotion, mishra bhakti. So it's not mishra bhakti. Bhakti mixed with karma, bhakti mixed with gyan, bhakti mixed with yoga, not mixed bhakti. It must be bhaktiya to ananya. It must be unmotivated, undivided, and not just, for 2 hours, 1 hour, half a day. No, few minutes. It must be uninterrupted devotional service. So it is not a cheap thing to see God. Somebody says, show me God. It's not cheap to see the Supreme Lord. Just see, if somebody says, can you show me the president? Right now, Mukuni, if I come to you and I say, can you show me the president? Can you show me the president right now? In person?
No.
No. Okay, if you call the president and you ask the president, hey, president, can you show me, can I have an appointment with you? You think he's going to say yes? He's going to start asking you many questions. It's a whole protocol. Okay, why do you want to see me? Who are you? What's your agenda? And even if you have an appointment, there's a whole protocol. You put you to your secretary and your secretary will tell you, okay, you need to dress like this. This is how you greet the president. This is, how you stand. You need to come at this point. Then we'll search you. There's a whole protocol just to see a materialistic person in this world. It's such a endeavor. What to talk about the Supreme Lord of all lords of this whole creation. So just to see Krishna is not ordinary. In text 55, Krishna concludes this chapter and gives us the essence of Bhagavad-Gita. There are many verses that Krishna summarizes the Gita. Here, Krishna gives the essence of Bhagavad-Gita. And Krishna says, he starts off, mat karma krit, engage in doing my work. Mat param, mat parama, make me the supreme goal. Mat bhakta, engage in my devotional service. Sangha varjita, free from contamination of fruitive acts and mental speculation. Nirvaira sarva bhuteshu, friendly to all living beings. So this is the qualities, this is the activities that Krishna is encouraging us to embrace. This is what makes the characteristics of Bhakti Ananya. And Krishna says, if we do this, then Yasamam eti pandava, he certainly comes to me. So this is some of the essential points in this chapter of the universal form. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this wonderful clip as we go through this narration of the verses. Try to see how Arjuna is going through the experience of seeing this amazing universal form. Then he offers many wonderful prayers because Arjuna recognizes. Initially, Arjuna thought, oh, this is Yadav, this is my friend. I know Krishna, man. Like many people in India, you go, you say, oh, you know Krishna? Yeah, I know Krishna. From small, I know Krishna. I know Krishna. Arjuna also thought like that. I know Krishna. But when he sees the universal form, then he recognizes, actually, I misunderstood Krishna. I thought Krishna is my friend, my buddy. And in fact, because if you look at Krishna's lineage and Arjuna's lineage, who's more superior? Who's more superior? Which birth and lineage is more superior? Arjuna's or Krishna's?
Krishna.
So Krishna, his father is, okay, let's look at the 4 orders, right? So which is the topmost order? Brahmana. Then after Brahmana, Kshatriya. After Kshatriya,
Vaishya.
Vaishya. And after Vaishya,
Sudra.
Sudra. So that's the sequence, right? Now, Krishna is born, and he's born with his father. His father is what category?
Vaishya.
So if you take Nanda Maharaj is a Vaishya. They're cowards. Okay. Yes, he's born with Vasudev, but nobody generally everybody knows Krishna is in Vrindavan. Krishna's father is Nanda Maharaj. So Arjuna, he is born as a Kshatriya. And Arjuna is thinking, see, I'm a Kshatriya, Krishna, you are Vaishya. So actually, you being my friend, I'm doing you a favor. I'm giving you mercy, Krishna. Therefore, we are buddies. You must thank me. This is how Arjuna was thinking. But then when Krishna showed him the universal form, Arjuna recognized, wow, what a big mistake, what a blunder. This is not my friend. This is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is Swayam Bhagavan. So Arjuna really, he felt very hurt. He felt repentant. And he's begging Krishna, please forgive me. I'm very sorry. Now, Krishna loves that. See, Krishna is Bhakta Vatsal. Krishna doesn't want to be glorified that he's God. Krishna wants the loving reciprocation. So he is happy that Arjuna, was behaving in that way. But it's very important. Arjuna, after seeing Krishna's opulence, recognized his true position. Similarly, if we hear well, and if we hear with the right heart, and accept what Krishna is saying, we will also become submissive. Because we can understand that Krishna is so great and I am so tiny. I'm so insignificant. And for me to take shelter of Krishna, that is so glorious. And we should not take it lightly that we know who God is. Many people out there, they atheistic. Of those who are theistic, who believe that there is some power, supreme power, very few know that God is a person. And of those who know that God is a person, very few know that he is like a human form, spiritual form. And of those people that know that Krishna has two-armed form, very few know his true identity, his name, his activities, his pastimes. Right? And we have all this detail given to us by Srila Prabhupada and the disciplic succession. Please avoid keep your mic muted and avoid writing on the slides. I'm just going to delete that. Let's see if I can. Sorry about that. Just trying to erase. Okay, we cannot erase. I'm just going to stop sharing and share again. All right. Okay, so now I'm going to play this wonderful clip.
Chapter 11, The Universal Form. Arjuna said, "By my hearing the instructions you have kindly given me about these most confidential spiritual subjects, my illusion has now been dispelled. O lotus-eyed one, I have heard from you in detail about the appearance and disappearance of every living entity and have realized your inexhaustible glories. O greatest of all personalities, O supreme form, though I see you here before me in your actual position as you have described yourself, I wish to see how you have entered into this cosmic manifestation. I want to see that form of yours. If you think that I am able to behold your cosmic form, O my Lord, O Master of all mystic power, then kindly show me that unlimited universal self. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, My dear Arjuna, O son of Pritha, see now my opulences, hundreds of thousands of varied divine and multicolored forms. O best of the Bharatas, see here the different manifestations of Adityas, Vasus, Rudras, Ashvini Kumars, and all the other demigods. Behold the many wonderful things which no one has ever seen or heard of before. O Arjuna, whatever you wish to see, behold at once in this body of mine. This universal form can show you whatever you now desire to see, and whatever you may want to see in the future. Everything moving and non-moving is here completely in one place. But you cannot see me with your present eyes. Therefore I give you divine eyes. Behold my mystic opulence. Sanjaya said, O king, having spoken thus, the Supreme Lord of all mystic power, the Personality of Godhead, displayed his universal form to Arjuna. Arjuna saw in that universal form unlimited mouths, unlimited eyes, unlimited wonderful visions. The form was decorated with many celestial ornaments and bore many divine upraised weapons. He wore celestial garlands and garments, and many divine scents were smeared all over his body. All was wondrous, brilliant, unlimited, all expanding. If hundreds of thousands of suns were to rise at once into the sky, their radiance might resemble the effulgence of the Supreme Person in that universal form. At that time, Arjuna could see in the universal form of the Lord the unlimited expansions of the universe, situated in one place, although divided into many, many thousands. Then, bewildered and astonished, his hair standing on end, Arjuna bowed his head to offer obeisances, and with folded hands began to pray to the Supreme Lord. Arjuna said, My dear Lord Krishna, I see assembled in your body all the demigods and various other living entities. I see Brahma sitting on the lotus flower, as well as Lord Shiva and all the sages and divine serpents. O Lord of the universe, O universal form, I see in your body many, many arms, bellies, mouths, and eyes, expanded everywhere without limit. I see in you no end, no middle, and no beginning. Your form is difficult to see because of its glaring effulgence, spreading on all sides like blazing fire or the immeasurable radiance of the sun. Yet I see this glowing form everywhere, adorned with various crowns, clubs, and discs. You are the supreme primal objective. You are the ultimate resting place of all this universe. You are inexhaustible, and you are the oldest. You are the maintainer of the eternal religion, the Personality of Godhead. This is my opinion. You are without origin, middle, or end. Your glory is unlimited. You have numberless arms, and the sun and moon are your eyes. I see you with blazing fire coming forth from your mouth, burning this entire universe by your own radiance. Although you are one, you spread throughout the sky and the planets and all space between. O Great One, seeing this wondrous and terrible form, all the planetary systems are perturbed. All the hosts of demigods are surrendering before you and entering into you. Some of them, very much afraid, are offering prayers with folded hands. Hosts of great sages and perfected beings crying, All peace, are praying to you by singing the Vedic hymns. All the various manifestations of Lord Shiva, the Adityas, the Vasus, the Sadyas, the Vishvadevas, the two Ashvis, the Maruts, the forefathers, the Gandharvas, the Yakshas, the Asuras, and the perfected demigods are beholding you in wonder. O mighty armed one, all the planets with their demigods are disturbed at seeing your great form with its many faces, eyes, arms, thighs, legs, and bellies, and your many terrible teeth. As they are disturbed, so am I. O all-pervading Vishnu, seeing you with your many radiant colors touching the sky, your gaping mouths, and your great glowing eyes, my mind is perturbed by fear. I can no longer maintain my steadiness or equilibrium of mind. O Lord of Lords, O refuge of the worlds, please be gracious to me. I cannot keep my balance seeing your blazing death-like faces and awful teeth. In all directions I am bewildered. All the sons of Dhritarashtra, along with their allied kings, and Bhishma, Drona, Karna, and our chief soldiers also, are all rushing into your fearful mouths, and some I see trapped with heads smashed between your teeth. As the many waves of the river flow into the ocean, so do all these great warriors enter, blazing into your mouths. I see all people rushing full speed into your mouths, as moths dash to destruction in a blazing fire. O Vishnu, I see you devouring all people from all sides with your flaming mouths, covering all the universe with your effulgence. You are manifest with terrible scorching rays. O Lord of Lords, so fierce of form, please tell me who you are. I offer my obeisances unto you. Please be gracious to me. You are the primal Lord. I want to know about you, for I do not know what your mission is. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Time I am, the great destroyer of the worlds, and I have come here to destroy all people, with the exception of you, the Pandavas. All the soldiers here on both sides will be slain. Therefore get up, prepare to fight and win glory, conquer your enemies, and enjoy a flourishing kingdom. They are already put to death by my arrangement, and you, O Savyasachi, can be but an instrument in the fight. Drona, Bhishma, Jayadratha, Karna, and the other great warriors have already been destroyed by me. Therefore kill them, and do not be disturbed. Simply fight, and you will vanquish your enemies in battle. Sanjaya said to Dhritarashtra, O king, after hearing these words from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the trembling Arjuna offered obeisances with folded hands again and again. He fearfully spoke to Lord Krishna in a faltering voice as follows. Arjuna said, O Master of the senses, the world becomes joyful upon hearing your name, and thus everyone becomes attached to you. Although the perfected beings offer you their respectful homage, the demons are afraid, and they flee here and there. All this is rightly done. O Great One, greater even than Brahma, you are the original creator. Why then should they not offer their respectful obeisances unto you? O Limitless One, God of gods, refuge of the universe, you are the invincible source, the cause of all causes, transcendental to this material manifestation. You are the original personality of Godhead, the oldest, the ultimate sanctuary of this manifested cosmic world. You are the knower of everything, and you are all that is knowable. You are the supreme refuge, above the material modes. O limitless form, this whole cosmic manifestation is pervaded by you. You are the air, and you are the supreme controller. You are fire, you are water, and you are the moon. You are Brahma, the first living creature, and you are the great grandfather. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto you 1,000 times, and again, and yet again. Obeisances to you from the front, from behind, and from all sides. O unbounded power, you are the master of limitless might. You are all-pervading, and thus you are everything. Thinking of you as my friend, I have rashly addressed you. O Krishna, O Yadava, O my friend, not knowing your glories, please forgive whatever I may have done in madness or in love. I have dishonored you many times, jesting as we relaxed, lay on the same bed, or sat or ate together, sometimes alone, and sometimes in front of many friends. O infallible one, please excuse me for all those offenses. You are the father of this complete cosmic manifestation, of the moving and the non-moving. You are its worshipable chief, the supreme spiritual master. No one is equal to you, nor can anyone be one with you. How then could there be anyone greater than you within the three worlds, O Lord of immeasurable power? You are the Supreme Lord, to be worshipped by every living being. Thus I fall down to offer you my respectful obeisances and ask your mercy. As a father tolerates the impudence of his son, or a friend tolerates the impertinence of a friend, or a wife tolerates the familiarity of her partner, please tolerate the wrongs I may have done you. After seeing this universal form, which I have never seen before, I am gladdened, but at the same time my mind is disturbed with fear. Therefore please bestow your grace upon me, and reveal again your form as the personality of Godhead, O Lord of Lords, O abode of the universe. O universal form, O thousand-armed, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, My dear Arjuna, Happily have I shown you by my internal potency this supreme universal form within the material world. No one before you has ever seen this primal form, unlimited and full of glaring effulgence. O best of the Kuru warriors, no one before you has ever seen this universal form of mine, for neither by studying the Vedas, nor by performing sacrifices, nor by charity, nor by pious activities, nor by severe penances, can I be seen in this form in the material world. You have been perturbed and bewildered by seeing this horrible feature of mine. Now let it be finished. My devotee, be free again from all disturbances. With a peaceful mind, you can now see the form you desire. Sanjaya said to Dhritarashtra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, having spoken thus to Arjuna, displayed his real four-armed form, and at last showed his two-armed form, thus encouraging the fearful Arjuna. When Arjuna saw Krishna in his original form, he said, O Janardana, seeing this human-like form so very beautiful, I am now composed in mind, and I am restored to my original nature. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, My dear Arjuna, this form of mine you are now seeing is very difficult to behold. Even the demigods are ever seeking the opportunity to see this form which is so dear. The form you are seeing with your transcendental eyes cannot be understood simply by studying the Vedas, nor by undergoing serious penances, nor by charity, nor by worship. It is not by these means that one can see me as I am. My dear Arjuna, only by undivided devotional service can I be understood as I am, standing before you, and can thus be seen directly. Only in this way can you enter into the mysteries of my understanding. My dear Arjuna, he who engages in my pure devotional service, free from the contaminations of fruitive activities and mental speculation, he who works for me, who makes me the supreme goal of his life, and who is friendly to every living being, he certainly comes to me.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you very much. So that brings us to the end of this chapter 11. Wonderful chapter, really establishing Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Arjuna has requested Krishna to show him the universal form. Krishna has proved his supreme position as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And no demigod can show you the Virat Rupa. Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, none of them can show you the Virat Rupa. Krishna is the only one that can manifest the Virat Rupa, or Narayana. And Arjuna, he saw everything in this wonderful form, which is very, very bewildering. But his relationship, eternal relationship with Krishna, is with Krishna, Sham Sundar Krishna. And that's why when Krishna shows him his two-armed form again, Arjuna feels very, very happy, satisfied, blissful with that beautiful form of Krishna. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Any questions anyone has? Jivananda has got a question. Is there any substantial difference between Krishna's Kala Rupa and Virat Rupa? Can these terms be used interchangeably? So generally in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the descriptions are given of the Virat Rupa. The Kala Rupa is specifically shown to Arjuna, and it's a feature of the Virat Rupa, but specifically focusing on past, present, and future in terms of time. So it's a more ghastly type of experience because you're seeing three time spans into one, and that can be very, very fearful. Generally, the Virat Rupa, which is described in Srimad Bhagavatam, is very much in relation to the material creation and the material universe. All the features you could say if you take material nature, you can put material nature into a form, and that form is the Virat Rupa. But when you add to that Virat Rupa a time factor, and that becomes the Kala Rupa, then it's a little more distinct, a little more, it's a specialized form of the Virat Rupa, Virat Rupa. So you couldn't really use it, you couldn't say Kala Rupa all the time. Bhagavatam is showing Kala Rupa, Krishna is showing the Kala Rupa, because the Kala Rupa is a specific feature of the Virat Rupa. And in a Virat Rupa, you may not necessarily witness the Kala Rupa specifically. For Arjuna's case specifically, that's what Krishna actually wanted to show him. Because why? Krishna wanted to show him the future. In generally the other the Virat Rupa, you don't get that feature. You just get, let's say, static type of form. So the mountains, the lakes, the rivers, they all make up the different universe. They all make up the form of Krishna. So it's more static in that sense. I hope that answered that point. Right, any other questions? How do we not worry too much about the future? So it's healthy to worry about the future. If you're not worried about the future, then that is not taking full advantage of human life. So it's very important. Yes, we need to be concerned about the future, and that's why we can plan. We want to, for example, and materialists, they plan. You have insurance policies, you have different, prepare for so many, you make so many arrangements for the future. But the most important future is what happens after death. Many people don't go to that extent. You have a life policy, but the life policy is only within this life. There's no use of life policy after life. Bhagavad-Gita is life policy after life. So we want to not only be worried about future, but even future beyond this death, beyond this body. So when we concern about that future, then that future can dictate all our present activities and even our near future. If we begin with that in mind, that I want to go back to the spiritual world, I want to surrender to Krishna, that's my future. I want to become a pure devotee of Krishna. I want to reestablish my relation with Krishna. If that's the future, then I can work backwards and say, okay, what do I do now? What do I do next year? What do I do in few years' time? So that way I can prepare for the future, right? So we have to be concerned about the future. But the challenge is when we don't have the shelter of Krishna, then it becomes a very traumatic, worrying situation, because the future can be very unsettling. Like it's explained that our life is like a drop of water tottering on a lotus leaf. At any time, it can slip. It's very unsteady, it's very unstable. Why? That's the nature of the material world. But when we have the shelter of Krishna, in the 4th chapter, Krishna said transcendental knowledge. When we have transcendental knowledge, it's like a boat that allows us to cross over. It gives us that security, that shelter. So that's why when we have faith in Krishna, that if I surrender to Krishna, then he'll take care of my future. I don't need to worry about my future. Yes, I have to act. I shouldn't be lazy, but Krishna will take care of my future. In whatever happens, he'll do what's best, right? We see the Pandavas. If you look at the Pandavas, just on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, here we see the battlefield of Kurukshetra. On the Kaurava side, there were 14 Akshohinis. On the Pandava side, there was half, 7 Akshahinis, which means just from a number game, there were double the number of soldiers and warriors on the Kaurava side than the Pandava side. So from a number game, they would have lost. Not only that, Bhishma Dev was 25,000 times more powerful than Arjuna. It's inconceivable. So just consider, right? Here is Dronacharya, his teacher, Bhishma Dev, who's so powerful, double the quantity of warriors. The Pandavas had absolutely no, chance to win this battle. So they had all reason to be worried about the future of this battle, the outcome of this battle. But they had firm faith that if we got Krishna on our side, we will overcome all challenges and eventually we will win. So like that, we need to also, we may be against all odds in this material world. But if we take shelter of Krishna with firm faith, have that conviction, that surrender, then we will have absolutely no fear. Consider Maharaj Parikshit. He was going to die in 7 days. But because he was hearing about Krishna, he realized his relationship with Krishna. From birth, Maharaj Parikshit was investigate. Parikshit means to investigate, because Krishna saved him in the womb. So when he came out, he was looking, where is this person that saved me in my womb? He was looking for Krishna all over, investigating every single person. Is this him? No. Is this him? No. Is this him? No. This is. So he was looking for Krishna, and finally, when he heard Bhagavatam and he realized Krishna's glories, then he was fearless. So that's how we should surrender to Krishna, and we will become fearless. The universal form is special form of the Lord. But how is it that the Kauravas were able to see this form of the Lord in that assembly with Karan and Dhritarashtra by the description given to Sanjay? Right, so there's 2 different forms, right? This specific universal form, the Kauravas could not see it. The demigods could see this universal form. Dhritarashtra heard the universal form. Sanjay could see it. Arjuna could see it. The sages could see it. Not the army, not the Kauravas. And the form that the Duryodhana saw in the assembly hall, that was Krishna showing them the form. So Krishna can give you the sight and allow you to see, right? But this specific form, the Kala Rupa form that Arjuna saw, they didn't see that. Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for incredible class. Krishna says, never was a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor these kings. Do we also have an original form? Yes, we also have an original form. So just consider, okay, let's consider the screen that you're seeing in front of me. So everyone is seeing Bhagavad Gita as it is, Chaitanya Life Academy, the title, and thank you, right? Now, if I tell you to move back, move away from the screen, further and further and further and further and further and further away, what happens to the picture that you see? If you move further away from your screen, what happens to the picture that you're seeing? It gets smaller and smaller, correct. And eventually, if you keep moving,
You won't see it.
you won't see it. So there's the question. At the time that you practically can't see it, does that mean that screen is disappeared? No, the screen is still there. Exact same shape, exact same form, colors, everything is there. But because you moved away, right, you moving away allows the screen from your perspective to be seen as practically non-existent, right? So similarly, the further you move away from the spiritual world, your form starts to shrink. Now remember, same example as the analogy that I'm using with the screen. Your form is not shrinking. Your form is still the same. But because you're moving away from the spiritual world, your true home, It's actually showing that you're becoming smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until you become 1/10,000 the tip of the hair. If I take your hair circumference, I cut that into 100 pieces. I take that 100 piece and I cut that into 100 pieces. That's your size right now. Tiny. That means your form, which is still exactly like the spiritual world, is still intact, perfectly in the same shape, same size, everything. For example, if you a gopa, if you're a coward boy in the spiritual world, you a coward boy right now. But because you moved away so far from the spiritual world, you become practically so tiny like that screen. Now, when you start moving closer, same example. So let's say I tell you to come closer now to the screen. You come closer, 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 closer. As soon as you come sit in front, you can see the screen. Nothing changed. The screen has never changed. Your distance changed. Similarly, the closer you go to the spiritual world now, that form that you have will start to become bigger and bigger and bigger, bigger into its normal form until it's totally manifest. So your spiritual form is intact. It's there. You have an identity. You have a relationship. You have family members. You have a village. You have your activities. Everything is perfectly intact. It's just that you've moved so far away that you practically 1/10,000 of the hair. Now, the more you move towards Krishna, towards the spiritual realm, the glories of Krishna, understanding your family, your friends in the spiritual world, you find that your true spiritual form starts to reawaken. At the same time, by chanting the holy name, we become cleansed. Our identity is revealed. Okay, nice question. Hope that answered the question. Okay, I think we can end there. It's already quarter past. All yours, Mukund. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Anand. Thank you for also engaging questions so that we can all learn from it and grasp from it. I'd like to end today's program with the closing prayers, and do stay tuned for an announcement for the weekend program. Thank you. Om Dyo Shanti Antariksham Shanti Pruthavi Shanti Apah Shanti Oshadayah Shanti Vanaswatayah Shanti Vishvedevah Shanti Brahma Shanti Sarvam Shanti Shantireva Shanti Shama Shanti Devi Hari Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Bolo Shri Krishna Kanhaiya Lal Ki Jai, Shri Gau Mata Ki Jai. Thank you all for joining us tonight. We have reached the end. We will see you again tomorrow night at 8. We're going to continue with Prabhu is going to end this week's chapter 12. So please join us again tomorrow night at 8. And then there's a special program going to be hosted on Sunday. So we won't have the Sunday evening program, but rather we're going to be having a afternoon program. It's a virtual darshan of Lord Jagannath, Baladev and Lady Subhadra. So you can join us online to sing the holy names, offer ghee lamps from your home to the Lord, and sing the Jagannath Astika. Please note that it's from at 1:30 to 3:30 on Sunday. And just note it's a new Zoom meeting ID and a passcode. So it's not the same one that we're going to be having every night, but we will post this poster on Facebook on the Govinda's Goshala page, so you can get the link there, or you can take a quick screenshot of this so that you can save the Zoom ID So that is going to be on Sunday at 1:30 to 3:30. Okay, and then we hope that you are enjoying these past 2 weeks online listening to the words of Bhagavan Shri Krishna as much as we have enjoyed it. Hopefully it has sparked an interest to read more, apply, and dive deeper into the understanding of Bhagavad Gita. If you have missed any of the lectures or would like to recap or share this knowledge with others, we have made the videos, notes, and audio available at the link below. It is there in the comment box, so you can copy it. Also, yeah, and then we're gonna share this also on our Govinda's Goshala Facebook page, so you can get the link there as well. If you do want to get it on WhatsApp, that is my number, so you can message me. I can add you to the group. And those of you who didn't get a chance to ask questions, Singananda Prabhu is on the WhatsApp group, so if you do have questions that you want to ask, you can also put it in the group and engage with him on that platform as well. Okay, and that's it for tonight from Govinda's Goshala family. Namaste and Hare Krishna to everybody, and see you tomorrow night.
Thank you, Mukund.
Thank you, Kaka, for
All right.
joining. Right, namaste.
Okay. Okay.